joining us this evening on TKO 8 Local News. And I do apologize, a little bit of a head cold and the voice has changed a little bit as well. Our opening story this evening, Larry Michael Berkeley, the former Harrison pastor, is now who faced numerous charges regarding abuse of juveniles, has pled guilty to those charges and been sentenced to prison in the state of Arkansas after his prison term is served in the state of Tennessee. Berkeley was charged with 4 counts of first-degree sexual assault, 7 counts of second-degree sexual abuse in 2014. Berkeley was accused of showing minors and juveniles, or allowing them, I should say, to go to his house to smoke marijuana and drink alcohol. In addition, he accused of sexually assaulting young males between the age of 14 and 18 and allowing them to watch pornography. He was arrested May the 6th of 2014 on Harrison police charges while he was in Covington, Tennessee, where he was living at the time. A Lauderdale County, Tennessee grand jury indicted Berkeley in June of that year on 2 counts of rape and 4 counts each of aggravated statutory rape, sexual battery by an authority figure, and statutory rape by an authority figure. He was sentenced to 32 years in prison in each count to run concurrently. Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Chris Carter filed a report saying that it was his intent of the plea agreement to keep Berkeley in prison until at least mid-2049. A rash of attacks on livestock by dogs in Western Grove area has been reported over the last few days. The Harrison Daily Times reported an investigator with the Newton County Sheriff's Office says a local farmer started finding dead calves with their nose, lips, and ears missing. At first, the farmer believed the calves were dying of blackleg or some other disease, and the missing ears, lips, and noses were just due to scavengers finding the calves before he did. The deaths continued intermittently over a few weeks until someone saw a pack of dogs chasing the calves and catching them by the nose and killing them. The Newton County investigator says the attack stopped for nearly 3 weeks, but then the dogs started up again, killing several more calves and at least 2 pigs just over that time over in Boone County. The investigator says there are different dogs seen in packs, but a couple is always there, and they recruit other dogs to join the pack. The Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality has denied C&H Hog Farm's application for a new operating permit in the Buffalo National River watershed area. The decision ends 643 days of waiting since C&H applied for a new permit to continue its farming operations in a slightly modified way. C&H, which abuts a Buffalo River tributary in Newton County, has been operating on an indefinite extension of its expired permit. That permit falls under a different regulation and stipulates different numbers of hogs than the permit that it was requesting. The farm's attorney, Bill Walder, called the decision incomprehensible. He added that the farmers had made every effort to make sure that the department had the required information. C&H has become the target of groups that fear the hog farm's presence is an environmental risk to the Buffalo National River. A trial date of February 20th has been set for Cynthia Pitt, who faces a number of charges, including attempts to hide methamphetamine by passing the drug to a juvenile, sneaking drugs into the Baxter County Jail in a Bible, and attempting to fake drug test in a variety of ways. Pitt is alleged to have attempted to fake drug test by providing samples of water from a toilet and having another inmate provide urine to be sampled. Pitt had put the specimen in a shampoo bottle and attempted to hide it in a body cavity. When a genuine sample was obtained from Pitt, it proved to be positive for multiple controlled substances, including methamphetamine. She is currently an inmate in the McPherson unit on an earlier conviction. Well, a winter weather advisory is in effect for the entire viewing area as an Arctic cold front surges across the region. Freezing rain is expected, which could impact travel in north central Arkansas and southern Missouri. The advisory is in effect for north central Arkansas tonight until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and for southern Missouri from 9 a.m. Thursday morning until midnight on Thursday. Doug Kramer from the National Weather Service in Springfield, Missouri, says conditions may be a bit more extreme for portions of southern Missouri. 1 to 2/100ths of an inch of freezing rain can be expected in northern Arkansas before it changes to sleet overnight. 1/10 to 3/10 of an inch of sleet is possible. Those traveling during these time frames should exercise extreme caution. Stay with us. Be back in a moment. We'll take a look at some headline news from around the region. But first, here's this week's closing livestock report from Sammy Klein, brought to you by Quality Feed Grains of Harrison and Bellefonte.
For the month of January, Quality Feed Grains has custom-made 20% protein Cattleman's Cubes for only $6.50 each and Orchard Grass Hay in stock for $8 a bale. They also have a variety of tank de-icers, reflector lamps, heat bulbs, and bucket de-icers to help livestock and pets water during the winter season. Quality Feed Grains, 4617 Highway 65 South and 311 East Prospect in Harrison.
This is Sammy Klein, Federal State Livestock Market News Service, reporting sales of North Arkansas livestock auction in Greenport for Wednesday, January 10th. Cattle receipts, 3,406. Last week, 102. A year ago, 20. Feeder steers, medium large ones, 3 to 400 pound, 189 to 197. 4 to 500 pound, 170 to 195. 5 to 600 pound, 150 to 180, 6 to 700 pound, 148 to 162. 7 to 800 pound, 137 to 147. 8 to 900 pounds, 133 to 136.50. 900 to 1,000 pounds, 128 to 129.50. Had some mixed ones and twos, value added. Paid 454 pounds, 183. Some 5 to 600 pound at 170 and 176.50. Feeder heifers, medium large ones, 3 to 400 pounds, 152 to 161. 4 to 500 pounds, 140 to 156. With some value added at 157. 5 to 600 pounds, 135 to 150. 6 to 700 pounds, 132 to 132 to 140. 7 to 800 pounds, 127 to 135. 8 to 900 pounds, 120 to 126. Replacement cows, medium large ones and 2 to 7-year-old, 900 to 1,250 pounds. Second stage, 925 to 1175 per head. And 7 to 10-year-old cows, second and third stage, 44 to 54 or 650 to 800 per head. Cow-calf pairs, medium large ones and 2 to 7-year-old, have 1 at 1,100 per pair. From 7 to 10-year-old cows with 1 to 300 pound calves is high at 810 to 1,075 per pair. Slaughter cows, boners, 47 to 55, high dress 56 to 66. Lean, 46 to 53, high dress 1 to 55.50, low dress 38 to 45. Slaughter bulls, grade 1s and 2s, 1,100 pounds, 70.50 to 78.50, high dress 1 at 81.50, low dress 60 to 67. That's Market Day. Sammy Klein reporting. Thank you.
Arkansas's governor is proposing a $5.6 billion budget that increases funding for the state's Medicaid program and sets aside surplus money for further tax cuts and highway needs next year. Governor Asa Hutchinson has proposed increasing state spending for the fiscal year that begins July 1 by nearly $173 million. Most of that increase goes toward Medicaid. The Republican governor proposed setting aside nearly $16 million in surplus money for highways and $48 million for a reserve fund that sets the stage for future tax cuts. Hutchinson also asked the state's four-year colleges to freeze tuition rates for in-state residents, citing a $10 million increase in performance-based funding for higher education. The executive director of the Union County's tax collector office has resigned after a months-long dispute over background checks. Connor Gleason quit Monday, and the county's quorum court said it would pay him the salary that it withheld during that dispute time frame. County leaders mandated background checks in September, but Gleason initially refused. Last month, the quorum court learned Gleason wouldn't be covered by a liability insurance policy because of an embezzlement accusation more than 7 years ago. Gleason previously said the charge was dropped and expunged from court records. Tax collector Paula Beard said she wouldn't fire Gleason, but the board considered forcing Beard to fire Gleason anyway, but he quit instead, and the board voted to give him all of his back pay. One of the 9 black teenagers who were escorted to Central High School in Little Rock by federal troops 60 years ago has written a book about her role in the school's racial desegregation program. Elizabeth Eckford reflects on her time at Central in the worst first day, bullied while desegregating Central High School is the name of the book. She will speak about the book this weekend in Little Rock. The book contains verses, photographs, drawings, essays, and documents from when Little Rock resistance to racial desegregation put the city in the national spotlight. Eckford and 8 other black students were blocked from entering the school in September of 1957 by an angry white crowd and armed soldiers. President then Eisenhower ordered in the Army to protect those students. Eckford says the book is meant to be teaching tools about bullying and leadership. Before we look at this wintry weather forecast as we move on into the weekend, here's the way the stock market ended today. I mentioned a winter weather advisory is in effect from 6 p.m. tonight until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning here in most of the viewing area. High temperature today was actually in the morning hours, 57 degrees prior to noon, but then as that frontal boundary went through, the temperature dropped dramatically, and of course we had some moisture coming into the area. Depending on where you were, you may have had some freezing precip because the temperature is certainly moving down into the low teens and single digits overnight as they have been forecasted by the National Weather Service. So if you haven't prepared yourself when you see this forecast, make sure you do before you go to bed tonight, because it is going to be downright cold and colder in the early morning hours. Have any pets outside, please make sure you take care of them. And if you know of any elderly that any question about having proper heat, please check on them as well. Well, here's the way it looks. It's just going to stay cold for a while. Not a lot of moisture with this system, but cold air coming out of the Arctics is going to push our temperatures back down into the single digits for a while. Here's the way it looks as we move on through the week and into the weekend. Tomorrow will be about the same. It's going to be downright cold, little sun in the afternoon, high temperature of 34, overnight low of 17. Colder on Saturday, if you can believe. High temperature of 28 in the afternoon, again 17 for an overnight low. A little bit warmer on Sunday as temperatures under partly cloudy skies, about 36 degrees. Monday up to around 37. And then another cold blast of air will come in on Tuesday, even with sunshine. High temperature on Tuesday, 24 degrees, overnight low 11 without the wind chill. So it's going to be cold for at least 4 or 5 more days, maybe longer, as this big Arctic system is just going to push into the Central Plains and hang out there for a while. Stay with us. Be back in a moment. We'll take a look at sports from around the region as TKO 8 News continues.
Harness Boots and Shoes in downtown Harrison remains the leader in the most popular and durable footwear for women, men, and children. For the ladies, Harness Boots and Shoes features a wide variety of Birkenstocks and Birkenstock socks, plus winter boots from Merrill and Mucks, as well as Twisted X and short boots. For you men, Harness Boots and Shoes brings you the best variety in the area for work, dress, and casual wear, including brands such as Justin, Double H, Rocky, Georgia, and Wolverine. And the boys and girls have a wide selection to browse through, too. Harness, boots, and shoes with outstanding customer service matched with layaway and free gift wrapping all year round. It sure is a shopping experience that will bring you back time and time again. Harness, boots, and shoes, 870-741-5750, or come on down and look for the Big Red Boot on the square in downtown Harrison.
Yellville Summit's junior high teams are on the road tonight as they face off against the Mountain Home Bombers. The 7th grade girls and boys, along with the freshman girls and 8th grade boys, are all looking for a successful night on the boards. In other junior high basketball, it will be Cotter traveling Viola. Flippin makes a trip over to Western Grove. Bruno Payette will host Lead Hill, and Jasper will head down to Kingston. Aaron Epps scored 13 points, had 11 rebounds as LSU dominated from the onset and easily dispatched Arkansas in a blowout victory, 75-54 on Wednesday night over at Bud Walton Arena. The victory is the 5th in the last 6 games for the surging LSU Tigers, who narrowly lost to Kentucky and also won at Texas A&M last week. Jalen Barford had 17 points to lead the Razorbacks, who have now lost 3 straight games after reaching number 22 in the national polls about a week ago. Barford was 6 of 15 from the field and the only Arkansas player to score in double figures last night. The Razorbacks played their worst half of the season to open the game, shooting just 6 of 33 from the field and trailing as many as 24 points before settling for a 41-21 halftime deficit. The 21 points were a season worst in a half for Arkansas, which shot a season worst 33% overall. They were terrible last night. Tried to watch the game, and then I just finally turned it off. Jonte Porter had 15 points, 10 rebounds in his first career start, and Missouri overcame a sluggish start to defeat Georgia 68-56 last night. Georgia cut a second half to 10-point deficit to 2 on Rayshard Hammond's three-pointer, but the Tigers went on a 7-0 run thanks to three-pointers from Kason Robertson and Kevin Purry with 6 minutes left, and Missouri widened its lead to 15 before stealing that victory. Up next for the Missouri Tigers, they will travel to face Arkansas on Saturday. Drew Smith scored 15 points, Ryan Taylor added 13, and Evansville turned back Missouri State 64-55 on Wednesday night. K.J. Riley had 11 points for the Purple Aces, and Damian Clarkston had 10 points and 11 rebounds. Eliza Johnson led the Bears with 16 points and 14 rebounds. Jared Rhodes and Reggie Scurry had 10 points apiece as well. The series is now tied at 34, dating to 1959, when Evansville beat MSU in the championship game of the NCAA Division II tournament. Jordan Howard scored a career-high best 41 points with 8 rebounds to lead Central Arkansas to a 92-76 win over the Incarnate Word school last night. Howard was 11 of 22 from the field and 15 of 7 from the free throw line. Hayden Koval added 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 blocked shots for the Bears. Thatch Unruh chipped in 11 points as Charles Brown and Kristen Peavy scored 24 points apiece for the Cardinals, who are on a 6-game skid. That wraps up our broadcast here for this evening. Thanks for joining us. Join us Monday through Friday at 6:30 and again at 10 p.m. as we continue to bring you local news, weather, sports, and local announcements from around the area on Harrison's broadcast station, TKO Channel 8. Don't forget, this weather is really changing a lot this evening. It's going to get even colder in the early morning hours, so make sure that you've got faucets running or at least dripping a little bit. Make sure your pets are all taken care of. And again, please check on any elderly or people that may be under the weather to make sure they don't have any problems with this extreme cold weather.